To help understand what ROB2 is getting at in this particular domain, it's helpful to define a couple of the core terms that we use within the ROB2 tool. So we need to think about, for a particular outcome, there can be the outcome domain. So that's the major construct of which the outcome is assessing. That might be something like severity of depression, or pain, or mortality, or risk of cancer. And the particular outcome domain may be measured in a particular way. So our severity of depression may be measured using the Hamilton rating scale after 6 weeks. So that's what we call the outcome measurement. And then in order to estimate the effect of that particular outcome measurement, we have to analyze the data, and we might choose to analyze the data as the difference in mean change in the Hamilton scores from baseline to 6 weeks. Now, any of you who've been involved with either doing lots of systematic reviews or doing your own studies and trials would recognize that for a particular outcome domain, there can be multiple possible measures for that domain and multiple possible ways in which you can analyze the data. This means that there are multiple possible results that could be generated for a particular outcome domain, each of which are available in a study report and eligible for the synthesis or meta-analysis that you want to undertake. And so it's this issue of multiplicity that we need to be focusing on when assessing risk of bias in selection of the reported result. So bias in selection of the reported result can occur through 2 main ways. The first is when results that are selected for reporting or presentation in an article have been selected because of the magnitude of the result, the direction of the effect, or the statistical significance of the effect, based from the authors having done multiple outcome measurements for a particular domain, and then only reporting one of those particular results. So in other words, I guess in more colloquial terms, we refer to this as cherry picking of the results. So I've already said a couple of examples. We might have pain or quality of life or depression measured using multiple scales, each at multiple time points, or sometimes we have particular outcomes such as treatment success or recovery that could be defined and have been defined by the trialists in different ways, and all analysed in the different ways. And then after peeking at the results, the authors then decide to not report all of the ones that they have generated and instead have just presented a subset because they have the most favourable results. Now, bias can also arise when the results have been selected from among multiple analyses of the outcome measurement. So for our scores for the depression scale, let's say 6 weeks, the authors may have chosen to run both adjusted and unadjusted models, or they might decide to run a suite of adjusted models, each adjusted for different covariates. They might decide to look at what happens when you analyze the data at a particular time point. So that's what we call a final value, as compared to when we analyze the result as change from baseline score, or as a score that's adjusted for baseline scores using an analysis of covariance. Alternatively, if you're looking at a continuous outcome, the authors may convert it into different, into a dichotomous outcome using different cut points. So these are I'm essentially saying here that the authors have decided to do these multiple analyses and do these multiple measures for the particular outcome domain, yet they haven't reported all the results for us. And the reason why they haven't reported all the results for us and the ones that they have selected is because they provide the most favorable result. Important thing to note here is this domain is not saying that multiple measures and doing multiple analyses is itself inherently wrong. What it's instead saying is that if you are planning to do these analyses and yet choose to only report a subset because of the nature of the result that you find, that's where we focus on in this particular domain. So I don't want you to run away thinking that we're trying to demonize people for doing or having multiple measures or analyses in their study.